Welcome back to the Developing Values and Principles of Health and Social Care Practice. This session will provide you with an insight regarding the content required for the reflection assignment. The aim of this session is to summarize and highlight the key aspect of what reflection is, to understand the different types of reflection models and the overall importance of reflecting when you are in a health and social care practice. This is just a quick activity to help us understand what your principles and values as students would be in a professional setting. On the screen, we have a short example of a case whereby you are expected to reflect upon what you would do in this particular situation. Please take some time to read this and reflect. As I've given you a few moments to reflect upon this, I would like to quickly generalize. As a junior member of staff, you would also have a duty of care to patients. You must ensure that you are doing all that is possible within your means, however, seeking support and guidance where you can. Moving on to our next slide now. Tasks in this assessment. Upon writing this assessment, you must ensure that you structure your work in an efficient manner, which demonstrates that you understand and are meeting the assignment brief and learning outcomes. In order to do this, it is advisable for you to start with the introduction of your placement or challenge. So here you will be expected to speak a little bit about your role. So what it is you do at placement and what are your roles and responsibilities. You will then move on to explaining your reflection model. So what is the reflection model which you have chosen? You will briefly speak about who developed this reflection model and the overall purpose of it. You will then move on to speaking about what challenges you faced throughout placement, how you were affected, and then you will relate this back to the reflection model in which you have chosen. After you've done this, you will then mention your most fulfilling part of your placement, what you could have done differently if you was able to do placements again, and what yourselves as students perceive as their strengths and weaknesses throughout your overall work placement journey. Moving on now to a reflection model. This is Price and Mayer's 3R stages. They emphasize on the importance of reflecting through the use of 3Rs, and these are as follows: replay, reframe, and reassess. If you would like to use this model in your assessment, it is important that you are relating your personal experiences to at least two of these stages, as shown over here. Moving on to another reflection model, this is Gibbs' reflection model cycle. Gibbs emphasized that in order for one to correctly reflect, they must refer to 6 stages, and these are as follows: description, feelings, evaluation, analysis, conclusion, and action plan. If you choose to use this model in the assessment, you must be relating it again to at least 2 of these stages. Lastly, another reflection model which is provided for you is Kolb's learning cycle. This consists of 4 stages, which are as follows: concrete experience, reflective observations, abstract conceptualization, and active experimentation. Kolb emphasized on the importance of following these 4 stages in order to properly reflect. As previously mentioned, it is compulsory for you to use the reflection model of your choice to speak about your experiences. Therefore, if this is one in which yourselves as students would like to pick, you must ensure that you are referring to the stages within this model. Now that we have summarized the reflection models, I'm now going to move on to some of the prompts in which you can use when you are writing up your assessments. It is understandable that reflecting can often be challenging for ourselves as individuals, as we may be skeptical or unaware of how to self-reflect. However, here are some prompts on the slide to help you with this. Please take some time to read this. Overall, what you will find from reading this is that reflecting illuminates your knowledge, experience, and expertise. Therefore, it's also always best to be open and honest about all aspects, even if, for example, you may have done something wrong. When writing up your reflective statements, it's important to be mindful about what you are writing and how much you are writing. When reflecting, you do not need to be too descriptive. Having said this, it is also important to note that this is only a 1,500 word assignment. Therefore, only mention the relevant points where it is required. An example of this is provided on the following slides. Moving on now to the examples. These are just a few examples of how you can write your reflective statements. I will give you a few moments to read these next few slides. As you can see in this next slide, they have mentioned all the relevant information and applied references where it is applicable. Another key aspect to be mindful of when you are writing up this assessment is that although this is a reflective statement based upon your personal experiences, it is still, however, a requirement for you to include references. As you can see in this slide, they have mentioned theorists. As students, it is important to collectively combine your personal experiences to a wide range of perspectives from academic sources. Again, I'm just going to give you a few moments to read this. However, I will also mention again that as you can see, they have applied academic sources again and references, which is what is required for you to do in your assessment. So please do make a note of this. Moving on now to how you would develop a reflection overview. Your reflection statements will be based upon your placement journey. Therefore, it is important that you keep a journal or a diary with you so that you are able to note down key moments in your work experience journey. This will then help you when you're writing up your assessment statement. This now concludes to the end of this presentation. I hope this clarified the expectations of what is required for you to do in your reflective statement assignment. Thank you very much for listening.